Amid constant criticism versus DepEd, Briones says entire education sector under very intense pressure. Manila, Philippines Education Secretary Leonor Briones on Monday lamented the constant criticism hounding the agency, saying that the whole education sector is under very intense pressure as the country shifts to distance learning amid the coronavirus pandemic. It is not only the learners but also teachers, Department of Education, or DepEd officials and executives who are suffering with the challenges of adjusting to the new normal, Briones said in an online press briefing. It is not only dealing with physical dangers of pandemic, it's dealing with the psychological requirements. Tapos you are surrounded by criticism, you are surrounded by discouraging news. Whatever you try to do is hardly noticed at all, and to keep on, that's a huge challenge for education, she said. The pressure are very intense as you can imagine, she added. Before this, Briones was asked regarding DepEd's effort to strengthen its mental health curriculum. Aside from helping learners cope up with the changes of the learning system, the education chief said DepEd is also engaging with professionals to help teachers as well as officials go through the challenging situation brought about by the pandemic. Dati, ang focus ng ating atensyon, of course, the learners, lalo na kung may sakuna, merong earthquake at saka ngayon itong COVID-19. Kailangang i-build up yung kanilang capacity to deal and to accept the change, she said. This time, we are putting also additional emphasis on the upskilling of teachers themselves. Not only ang teacher ang binigyan natin ng ganitong klase ng upskilling, but also our policymakers, our program coordinators, meron tayong for the executives, she added. Intense pressure, according to Briones, different segments to the education sector are facing different types of pressure as the Philippines shift into distance learning. All levels, from learners to teachers to the executives themselves. Ang tama sa edukasyon ay napakatindi because of the changes and the schedules. You're dealing with human ranging from children to people who are nearing retirement. And it's not only the pandemic, it's the requirement to survive the pandemic, the Education Secretary said. That means a different way of teaching, different combinations of learning modalities, different skills that are needed. Mas matindi ang pressures at this time on all of us, including myself, she added. She said learners are having a challenging time with having adjust to the idea of a different type of schooling. Meanwhile, the pressure teachers are facing are very different. Aside from the constant fear which is always catching of coronavirus, there is also the pressure to upskill and to learn new ways of teaching, Briones said. Nagwa-widen yung groups of people whom you have to deal with. You have to deal with local governments, with the parents, and of course, you deal with the DepEd officials, she added. For education administrators, Briones said they are under pressure to deliver and formulate plans and programs to address different needs of schools across the country. You will notice that when they make the presentations of the dry runs, iba-iba talaga, walang magkakapareho, she said. Constant criticism and then the pressures of the policymakers, the policy implementers, the one who guide the directions. The constant criticism, the constant kantsaw, the constant mura. You have to be very strong to be able to continue and to believe in what you are doing, she said. It's very tremendous kind of pressure, and the most difficult as far as the policy making is the cruelty, the viciousness, which we have to deal with, she added. Briones also disclosed that the executives during some of their meetings share with each other their anxieties and fears. It is not only the learners, it's everybody amidst a political, social, and economic environment which is not necessarily encouraging or even inspiring, she said. She further decried the criticism being thrown at the DepEd leadership over its policy. Kasi para bang I am a taxpayer, therefore impress me. Tell me what you are doing. You are doing this, you are doing that, and that is not enough. Impress me some more. Tell me some more what you are doing, what are you not doing. Is there a kind word? Is there a word of encouragement? Brianna said. Parang nothing that we are ever do is ever enough. Nothing that we ever think about or produce is ever satisfactory. In a very short period of time, 6 months, you overhaul the entire educational system and it's not enough, she said. Earlier, Briones reported that DepEd has so far lodged nearly 24 million enrollees for the upcoming school year, the opening of which was deferred to October 5 in light of the pandemic. The opening of classes was initially scheduled for August 24, but several lawmakers and groups urged the DepEd to postpone the start of classes in order to prepare more with the transition to blended learning. Public and private schools were instructed to use various alternative learning modalities such as but not limited distance or online learning and homeschooling. Lessons for Kinder to Grade 12 students will also be made available on DepEd TV, DepEd Radio, and can be downloaded from DepEd Commons. DepEd has been preparing for blended learning, which is a combination of online distance learning and in-person delivery of learning materials to the home of the learners for the reopening of classes. Teaching with the use of radio and television will also be done for students who do not have access to a computer or the internet.